Hello and welcome to another Let's Play. Me, GamerWolfSix, of Sileo, Tales of a New Dawn. Before we start, if you're interested in playing this game, you can get it for free on itch.io, but if you want to support the people that make this game and or get the newest version earlier, you can go through Patreon, where it's $5 a month or $54 a year. So, on the last Let's Play, day 19, the day of the fight, waking up, doing a little bit of work, while these two talked it out in Ty's place, and now the fight's starting. So reset my face, and let's get ready to struggle! Woo. The battle had begun, but unlike all others, both contestants stood in their corners even after the bell rung. The two made eye contact, both looking solemn and determined. The crowd's chatter had quieted to whisper, eagerly awaiting what would happen next. Diego lowered his stance, with Kyrex smiling in return. Then Diego charged. I was sure I had never seen Diego move that quickly before, and judging by Kyrex's surprised expression, neither had he. It was close, but Kyrex narrowly managed to get out of the way. Diego bounced into the rope and closed it on Kyrex, who was now standing near the center of the ring. The two began circling one another as words were exchanged. Alas, I couldn't make out what was being said from the distance. This continued for several more moments before Kyrex threw a sudden kick, which Diego intercepted with his left hand, while striking Kyrex in the gut with his right. Kyrex then twisted out of Diego's grasp and went for a strike with his tail. This landed, but Diego remained standing, unfazed by the blow. Diego threw a few retaliatory punches into Kyrex's chest, followed by a vicious surprise kick. Kyrex staggered, but back a single step before regaining a stance and throwing a strong blow back into Diego's guts. Diego went slightly, but otherwise didn't let his discomfort show. The two continued trading blows back and forth, neither getting any particular advantage until... Round 1, timeout! The two fighters dropped their stance, and Kyrex appeared to chuckle slightly before turning tail and retreating to his corner. Diego seemed unamused, but nonetheless returned to his. A few moments passed, with each fighter hyping themselves up in their respective corners before the PA called the beginning of the second round. This time, both fighters rapidly closed the distance and immediately went on the offensive. Well, I'm most pleased to see the conversation did not harm their fighting spirit. They are fighting with all the vigor I could have hoped for. Diego didn't have time to say, but I take it the talk went smoothly. It's like I said, he had nothing to fear, although I obviously cannot disclose any of it. Confidentiality and all that. I'm sure that is a task best left to Diego. That's something, I guess. I'll get the details from him later on. I assume you're going to keep your promise then? Worry not. I know you overstepped. I shall not interfere in the future. Good. And no more secrets, yes? Well, that depends. What? Ty chuckled to himself before slipping away from the topic, instead busying himself by initiating conversation with Lucas. Round 2, time out. My attention grabbed by the bell, I turned my gaze to the ring, to witness both fighters return to the corners once more. Each was looking a touch more disheveled than when I last looked. The previous round taking its toll on both, but with neither scoring any points. Quite a fight so far, right? Who would have thought it would have been such a close match? This is exciting. But, I hope Diego wins. Round 3, fight! The third round began, and the two went right back in, immediately throwing punches. This wasn't just a fight for those two. It was personal. Wow, That one looked like it hurt. I can't believe no one's been knocked down yet. They aren't holding back at all. I guess neither wants to lose to the other. Diego said before he went in that they had to score to settle. Yeah. This isn't your average fight. I can feel it. There's so much energy between them. It's so exciting. Looking towards the ring once more, I saw Diego throw a fierce kick which successfully knocked Kyrex off his feet, only for him to roll and get straight back up. His counterattack was equally fierce, briefly staggering Diego, but not long enough for Kyrex's following strike to not be dodged. Diego's dodge successfully pivoted his position to Kyrex's right, with Diego lunging a firm and highly effective strike to Kyrex's gut. Kyrex was briefly staggered, and Diego took advantage of this by charging into him, knocking him flat on the ground. Diego threw himself on top, and... Round 3 to Diego! Score 1-0! Man, this is the first time he actually scored first. About time. That was great. Yes! Go, Diego! Knock the scales off of him! I hadn't rightly expected Diego to take the first point. I was nonetheless incredibly glad that were the case. Adrian, correct me if I'm wrong, but that is Diego's ex, yes? Right you are. Say, I'm sure I've seen him somewhere before. Anyway, such a beautiful fight. I am in awe of their strength and determination. You can tell they have history. We truly are witnessing something special. I'm wondering if he's meaning that Jay and Kyrex were a thing. You are so gay, you know that? But of course, whatever else would I be? Rantar, hi! And they're off again. By the gods, look at the musculature in Diego's arms. Hey. I know. He's yours, right? Fear not. I do not presume to steal him away from you. You better not. Jay fired a cheeky grin before wandering over to Russell and striking up a conversation. Looking towards the ring, little had changed. Diego and Kyrex were still duking it out with all the vigor and fury one could expect. Both of them were starting to look a little tired. I watched the battle for a few moments before I was approached once again, this time by our most unlucky pairing. Likely. Unlikely? Yeah. Diego has improved. He's fighting well. I'm surprised he's actually winning. Kyrex struts about like he's hot shit, all bluster. He did win last year. So, he clearly isn't winning this year. Round 4 to Kyrex. Score 1-0. Maybe I spoke too soon. Kyrex returned to his corner with a smile as Diego picked himself off the ground. His expression was one of annoyance and frustration. Once back in the corner, he took deep breaths to calm himself, all the while holding eye contact with Kyrex. Kyrex looked back with calm expression. Knowing what I knew, I would have expected Kyrex to gloat. Instead, he remained calm, quiet, focused. Round 5, fight! The fighters got back to work, neither of them hesitating for a minute. As soon as Diego arrived in range, Kyrex spun and threw his tail like a whip. The strike got Diego directly in the face, sending him down to the ground, blood spewing from his nose. Foul! Red flag for Kyrex. Score 2 to Diego. As a most unexpected move, Kyrex knelt down beside Diego. He took on the look on his face was almost apologetic. Diego scowled at him before picking himself up and wiping the blood from his nose with his forearm. Is it just me, or did that actually seem like a mistake? Either that, or he's a good actor. I don't know what to believe at this point. Do you really think that was accidental? Kyrex lost a point. He wouldn't do that for fun unless he knew he'd win regardless. Time will tell, I guess. Both fighters returned to the corners once again. Diego grabbed a towel from beside the ring, beside the ring, and wiped himself off before cracking his neck and raising his fists, ready for another round. He was in the lead. Just one pin would be enough. Looking over at Kyrex, however, he seemed undeterred and confident. Diego had noticed this too, judging by his continued scowl. I wondered what was going on in his head. What was he thinking? How was he feeling? Oh, now we're Diego. He really screwed himself with that one. I was almost glad he did it. While my nose hurt like hell, I got a point out of it. I wasn't going to say no to that. I looked over to Kyrex's direction, and the two of us locked eyes. He appeared solemn and unusually dignified. In those final months, he could have jeered. In those final months, he could have jeered or made fun of me. Yet he did nothing of the sort, appearing almost mature at the moment. Somehow, I still didn't believe it. Despite everything that had been said, I couldn't bring myself to trust him. Hold on a sec. I'm gonna print screen for that, you know? Boop. And hit! Hi! I moved in, this time playing a little more cautiously. I only needed one more point, and the tournament was mine. I expected Kyrex to do similar, given the point he just gave me. Confirming my hypothesis, we both came to punching range, and began to circle one another, waiting for the other to make the first move. What, ain't going to get revenge for that bloody nose of yours? And leave myself open to a counterattack? You're dreaming. I know you a little too well for that. Do ye? Pretty sure you're trying to rile me up, get me fighting recklessly. That's right. Ye sure it ain't no accident. So wait, why is this picture not appearing there, bottom left-hand corner? I'd be surprised if it was. Heh, well, my aim was a little off. I weren't meaning to hit ye in the face, promise. Sure you weren't. Honest, I swear on my life. Our conversation had Kyrex distracted, giving me a golden opportunity for a jab in the gut. Oof, you sly bastard. Kyrex was smiling despite the blow. But why? What was he planning? Surely he had something up his sleeves. Or perhaps he was just enjoying himself. After all, it's not every day you get to brawl with your ex. I admit, I was enjoying myself a little too. Suddenly, Kyrex went in for a strike that I managed to avoid and counter. Not that the counterattack did a whole lot. Between the two of us, we knew each other. We threw the occasional punch. Kyrex went in for another tail whip, this time more accurately aimed. It connected, but did a little throw me off balance. Do you always fight this slow? Speak for yourself. You look tired. What? And you don't? It's been a long fight. And 6, time out! We each lowered our fists and returned to our corners. Kyrex is right. It had been a long fight. My nose was still bleeding, and my body was aching all over. Nonetheless, I was still standing, and not about to go down anytime soon. I wouldn't lose. I couldn't lose. Not in the final round. Not against Kyrex. We still had a score to settle, and I wasn't going to let him win, no matter what it took. I looked over at the crowd, seeing many of my supporters looking optimistic. They had split off into groups and were chatting amongst themselves. Adrian was standing with Logan and Eric. Shirtless and sweaty in front of Eric. No doubt he was enjoying every minute of it. Oh, Eric the Iraq guy? Round 7, height! It was go time once more. Little was achieved in the last round, so this time I was going to bring the pain. I briskly advanced, coming into range of Kyrex before opening with a kick. It continued, but it had little impact. Next, I threw several punches, narrowly avoiding several of his own, before going in with another kick. I came crashing to the ground. He'd spun around and swept me off balance during the kick with his tail. I started to get up as he quite literally flew on top of me, crushing me in the process. Jeez, was he always that heavy? That hurt. I struggled to throw him off, with moderate success, restarting the pin count several times. Alas. Round 7 of Kyrex scores 2-all. 2-all. There was still 3 rounds left. Whoever scored the next point was the victor. Was it too much to hope Kyrex would get another red card? Damn, dude got played. I hate fighters with big tails. This is really close. You look worried. Okay, just some random thought. Do you think if anthers existed, tail fighters would actually be... Oh, fighters that had big tails would actually be a strength? I don't know. I mean, I guess there were, Stegosauruses and those other things that had clubs on tails, but I can't think of anything that's a thing on its tail that would be dangerous in a way that wasn't, a scorpion tail. Anyways, I might just look it up, be like... Okay, side note. Animals that use tails to fight. Put that there, and look at that later. This is really close. You worried? A little. No matter who wins at this point, it was a good fight. But clearly, I'd rather be Diego. Can't say I mind if it goes on a bit longer though. Are you being a pervert again? You said he stopped. Maybe. Round 8, fight. Oh, and it seems like maybe Logan might be a little miffed. Kyrex and Diego once again closed the distance, preparing to knock the stuffing out of one another yet again. As was to be expected, both fighters started off cautiously. It would be only be 1 point for either fighter to decide the victor, and neither of them wanted to lose. I must admit, I'm proud of Diego's performance. The fact that he's matching Kyrex as well as he is very impressive. I cannot help but be a little proud of Kyrex too, mind you. As I hear it, his aggressive fighting style nearly cost him semis. Really? He was up against another strategic fighter like Diego. He won in the end, but I hear it was close. He knows Diego is similarly strategic. I would say Kyrex's more restrained approach here is deliberate. He's keeping his cool rather well. So is Diego, actually. Things got a little heated earlier on, but they've slowed right back down now. I cannot imagine they're not completely exhausted after such a long fight. It has to be. Ty's words were interrupted by the sound of shock from the surrounding crowd. Return our direct attention to the ring. Kyrex is on his knees, blood dripping from his mouth. Perhaps I spoke too soon, Lucas, what did we miss? Looked like Diego got revenge for that tail slap earlier, although not directly. However do you mean? All Diego did was dodge. Kyrex got tangled up in his own tail, and fell face first onto the floor. How do you tangle up in your own tail? I'm almost glad it was not a penalty. Kyrex picked himself back up and wiped the blood from his face. He looked up at Diego, whose nose was still dripping blood, and laughed. He said something, and although I couldn't hear it, I could quite easily read his lips. Guess we're even. Diego laughed in response, before the two of them raised their fists once again, and resumed brawling. Oh, that certainly seems like a friendlier interaction than the norm. I assume your interference bore fruit? And I assume you're still not going to tell me what happened. It would not be my place. After all, I would not dare stick my nose in your business. Right. Do not underestimate my abilities as a mentor. Round 8, timeout. Score 2 all. Once more, the two fighters returned to their corners, each picking up a towel and cleaning themselves off. There was a line of blood down the middle of Diego's chest, and Kyrex wasn't looking too much better off. I feel sorry for Diego. He looks hurt. They both do, but I doubt they're feeling sorry for themselves. Round 9, fight. I suppose you're right, dude. This is probably like cathartic for them. Sorting out their differences the only way men know how. That's one way of looking at it. But they spoke already, didn't they? They did. I don't know what happened. All I know is it went fairly well. Huh. I guess, like, words can't solve everything, right? Adrian, Russ, this is so exciting. Right? It's kind of scary too, though. Do you think Diego will win? It's really close. Win or lose, they both fight like super well. No matter what happens, we'll be proud of Diego. The way I'll be proud of Diego. Round 9, timeout, score 2 all. Wow, they timed out again. They're being too cautious. I looked back over at the ring to see Diego slump to his knees. Kyrex noticing this, he sat down in front of him, and the two began to speak. I found it all too strange. They almost seemed friendly. Perhaps friendly was the wrong word, but they certainly didn't seem to hate each other like they did. Just what happened between the two in their talk? I was more confused and curious now than ever. Heh, 9 rounds, 2 all. You know what that means. Means you gotta stop holding out on me. Could say the same to you. Kyrex sneered, his usual sneer, but in an unusually playful smile tucked away in the corner of his lips. Is this gonna be the end of Metal Gear Solid 4? I slowly pulled myself back to my feet, my muscles aching and searing as it did. Kyrex followed suit, not holding a similar feeling of pain all the while. I took a few deep breaths, waiting for the call, starting the final round. This was it. One last battle. Win or lose, I was ready. We're both bloodied and broken, but not yet beaten. We stood in silence, my heart pounding in my chest, drowning out the sounds of the crowd. Kyrex looked at me, his expression one of sour determination. I bared my teeth at him. And actually, sorry. Raiden makes me on. He returned with a mocking smile. I always hate doing that because it's like, here's this exciting thing. Oh, that's so exciting with my yawning. But, you know, reading is tiring. At least for me. Ladies and gentlemen, this is our final round. Both our combatants are on equal ground, only requiring a single pin in order to win the tournament. And so, may the best fighter be the victor. The final round begin! Kyrex moves toward the center of the ring, failing to hide a noticeable limp. I followed suit, hunched slightly due to the pain in my back. Whoops. I thought I mooted that. There we go. Do not disturb. It looked amusing from the crowd's perspective, almost as though we were two decrepit old men. Hell, I sure felt that way. Kyrex and I arrived within range of one another, and it took everything. Bugger! Everything I had to throw a punch. A punch Kyrex didn't dodge. Not that it seemed to have much of an impact anyway. Kyrex returned with his own, hitting me square in the arm. It struck a bruise, but that would have hardly been the case no matter where he struck. Is that all you got? Kyrex took this up as a challenge, throwing another weak punch from his other arm. The effort of doing so caused him to wobble somewhat. This is my chance. I mustered all the strength and charged forward, grabbing him and trying to pull him onto the ground. He slapped his tail to the ground almost like an anchor. successfully remaining upright as I stumbled to the floor. Kyrex tried to take this opportunity to pin me, but it was too slow. I managed to crawl out and away from it just in the nick of time, with Kyrex hitting the ground beside me. Heh, ain't this embarrassing. With great effort, I managed to pick myself up off the floor as Kyrex was slowly doing the same. We were both completely exhausted. Before long, we stood facing one another once more. Kyrex strafed to one side and whipped his tail against my shins. Caused me to collapse back to my knees. Kyrex grabbed my shoulders and tried to force me back on the ground. I resisted with everything I had and in his exhaustion, Kyrex fell to the side next to me. I took this opportunity and fell on top of him, initiating a pin. Alas, he pulled himself out of it and slowly climbed to his feet. I rolled to the side and onto my knees before standing up again myself. I'm gonna have to get some tea after this. We faced one another yet again, and exchanged several more blows before Kyrex glanced to his side and lowered his fists. Huh? What are you doing? Look. I followed his gaze up to the round timer. 5 seconds. 4, 3. So, that's how it ends, eh? There was an almost eerie silence in the venue. It was several moments before the PA piped up, announcing the result. I don't believe it, folks. For the first time in the history of Woodcrest Combat Tournament, the finals ended in an even tie. And so, I announce our winners, Kyrex and Diego. I slumped to my knees as Kyrex turned back towards me and began to walk closer. His approach concerned me. I wasn't rightly sure what he was going to do. As then, he sat down only a few feet away from me, breathing heavily and wearing a subtle grin. Well, it's better than losing, I guess. Speak for yourself. I was hoping to kick your ass. I mean, yeah. I wiped the blood from my nose yet again, my arm aching as it did. You kinda did. Heh, I think one of my teeth is wobbling. Serves you right. Guess it kinda does, huh? And that bloody nose of yours, you had that coming. Asshole. Heh. Kyrex painfully pulled himself to his feet, staggering a little in the process. He then slowly ambled over to me. To my surprise, he balanced himself with a steel, holding out his hand to me and offered to help me up. You surely got the strength left for that? Are you sure? We'll soon find out. Aw, look at that. I grabbed Kyrex's hand, and he strained to pull me up off the ground. His first try was a failure, with him nearly losing his balance, but his second attempt bore more fruit as I climbed to my feet and stumbled onto him, or into him. Hey, watch it. People might get the wrong idea. And don't we know all about that? Guess we do. The tournament belt will be handed out by none other than the tournament's organizer, who is making his way down to the ring as we speak. Contestants, please meet him to claim the prize. Kyrex and I slowly made our way out of the ring and down the staircase, where a familiar figure approached. Crow guy? Yeah. Well, gentlemen, this has been a most surprising result. Well done to you both. Incidentally, the ballot reads champions for some arbitrary reason, almost as though someone had predicted this very outcome. Although, one would assume, if indeed they were properly prepared for such a scenario, there would have been 2 belts instead of just 1. Just 1? Really? Indeed, far from the most ideal circumstances. And I don't want to share with this asshole. Pah, you're telling me. Oh dear, this may well be problematic. Nah, it ain't. Huh? Well, I already have one, you see? From last year. So, oh yes, I see. You're willing to concede the belt to Diego then? guess that's what I'm saying. It's not like I need two of the things. Kyrex leaned over to me and whispered something in my ear. Does this make us even? I wasn't sure how to answer. Generosity from Kyrex wasn't heard of. Or perhaps he was doing it out of guilt. One thing is for sure, this wouldn't have happened if we hadn't spoken. I sighed. There'd been enough tension and bad blood. Nothing could undo 9 months of hell we'd both been through, but Kyrex's gesture was appreciated nonetheless. In accepting this offer, I felt perhaps we would put this whole thing behind us, once and for all. You know what? We've said everything we needed to say, and beaten the crap out of each other for a good measure. You're still a dick, but hey, I'll take your belt, and we can call it even. Works for me. Well, it's good to see you two have patched things up. Eh? You know about that? Naturally, I know many people and hear many things. Ty! Kyrex leaned over to me, whispering in my ear once more. Hey, who's this weirdo? Ain't that just the question? Kyrex looked confused, but quickly regained his composure as Spencer produced the tournament belt, handing it to me and instructing me to hold it up to the crowd. I turned to Kyrex, who had already surrendered the belt to me. Perhaps I was finally starting to forgive him. Hey Kyrex. Yeet. I think my arms are a little tired to be lifting this thing. Think I could get a hand? Champions! Kyrex smiled. I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna deal which thumbnail I'm gonna pick. Kyrex smiled, seeing right through my ruse as the two of us turned towards the crowd and thrust the belt into the air. Well, one side of my left hand and the other in his right. The adoring crowd cheered in response. Despite the fight ending in a tie, perhaps this wasn't such a bad ending after all. I was finally learning to forgive him, and finally understood how he felt in all of it. We both made mistakes. We both hurt one another, and yet, today, we found forgiveness and closure. We were both winners today, regardless of the tournament results, and at long last, we could both put this whole sordid affair behind us. I was in disbelief. They held up the belt together, and everything. Just how well had their talk gone, exactly? Well, I bet you're kinda confused, huh? Duh. What the hell is going on with you two? I'll tell you when we get home, I promise. Diego, that was very well fought. Well done. How do you feel? Sore, hungry, a little annoyed that I didn't win outright, but, well, I guess it's appropriate. Appropriate indeed. And he let you have the belt. It would seem our raptor friend has come down with a bad case of generosity. Or guilt. He was grasping at straws to find an excuse for being nice. Sounds like it were an amusing moment. Anyway, I would like to hold a celebration for you, but I expect you'd probably prefer a rest first. Does tomorrow suit you? Yeah, that works for me. I'm a bit sore for partying, you know? I'm a little sore for partying. Indeed. Tomorrow, then. I'm sure everyone here wishes to congratulate you, so I will let you out of the way. But before I do, permit me to do so first. Congratulations, Diego. My faith in you was not misplaced. You say that as though I won, but thanks. I appreciate it. Wow, Diego, you did great. How do you feel? In one word, sore. I bet. I'm sure it felt good smacking him a few times, right? Damn right it did. If only he didn't hit me back. You even got the belt. That's so awesome. Congratulations, Diego. Thanks, guys. You did a lot better than I expected. Good work. I knew you had it in you, big guy. Never doubted you for a second. Honest. Heh, thanks, guys. Say, it's been a while since you worked for me, and we've got quite a big contract. Straight back to business with you. Well, you have my number. Just let me know. Ty's already extended his warmest invitation to your little celebration. Looking forward to it. You did good. You deserve a celebration. Well, less awkward than the last one. Say, I think your new friend will be there, Logan. Heh, just look at him go. He's all beat red. Anyway, well fought, Diego. How does it feel to be champion? Pretty good. I don't think I'll be doing it again next year, though. Understandable. Just means that it's mine next time. Not likely. You'll have to go through me. I do like a challenge. Jeez, last in line. How rude. Just wanted to say, congratulations, my dude. You're totally an animal out there. Because we're all animals. Thanks, Russell. I appreciate it. And, now we've, gotten, that, out of the way, you better get home. Clean the blood off you. We'll see you tomorrow, my dude. Don't feel the need to stick around for us. Yeah. Adrian, what do you say? Ready to head home? Wait, you're forgetting one thing. Huh? What? Congratulations, Diego. You made me proud. Aw, shucks. Thanks, Adrian. Let's head home. I'm beat. I'm gonna beat your butt as well. Yeah, let's. And with that, and us being past that 30-minute mark, that's a good time to call it. Hyena. So, yeah. Please comment, guys. Like comments, tell me you like, dislike, tip tricks always. If you like me cheap and like Secret, then please like, subscribe, and check out their business up. And please remember somebody new animals help control the pet population. And oh yeah, if you want to play this game, you can get it for free on itch.io. But if you want to support the people that make this game and or get the newest version earlier, you can go to the Patreon, where it's $5 a month or $54 a year. Hyena. And until next... Oh yeah, we were going to check out animals that use tails to fight. Horses and cows use their tails... I said fight, not swat away flies. Which qualifies blood-sucking predators. I wouldn't exactly call predator something that sucks blood, unless it's like some kind of giant mosquito from that one Whoa movie. Porcupines use their tails to whack a dog if it gets close. Pangolins, aardvarks, some lizards. Dinosaurs. You see dinosaurs. It's kind of funny. It's like, here's a fox tail and here's a dog tail. It's like, how is that going to work? Is it just going to use this to whack somebody in the face, it's slightly annoying them? I don't know. Oh, it's that thing. What is it called? It's a thing that looks all scaly, but I think it's a mammal. Walks up on two legs quite often. Oh, sure. Yeah, anyways, until next time. Me, GamerWolfSix. Of Sileo, Tales of Anew on. I'm gonna go get a cup of tea so I can, make my throat not hurt like I did. Bye.